Sure. And actually, from the information that's been presented to you, when you kind of looked at it, we had that goal to be at 9% diversity in 5 years. But as we kind of started playing through all these numbers, we realized, on average, we're hiring 11 minorities overall a year, but we're also losing 15 a year, right? So in the big picture of things, we're actually ultimately we've been reducing our staff because we've been losing students. But if you look across the board, we've been 4.5% to 5% minority forever. We've been pretty consistent. So when I just, trying to figure out, well, what would it really take to reach that 9%? The maximum in the last 6 years, I think, that we've hired is 18 minorities. All right. So in calculating, all right, knowing what our staff is today, assuming it remains same for the next 5 years, would have to hire about 52 minority employees a year for each of the next 5 years to reach that goal of 9%. So in reality, as we talk about goals that are achievable, I don't believe that that's a goal that we could honestly achieve over the next period. We don't have any evidence to suggest that all of a sudden that we're going to have that kind of influx. So what we did do was we looked at kind of working in line with that sort of retention number, and you see that our retention rate is 93 for our overall staff and 90% minorities. So that literally is based on 15 minority staff leaving last year. So what needs to happen in order for those numbers to be the same is actually only we need to retain 4 more minority staff members, right? So because we're talking about small numbers here. So we looked at, all right, if we could make that swing and retain 4 and make those two the same, what kind of numbers do we believe if we use our 11 average? What if we were to achieve something close to that 18 we achieved that 1 year? What if we were to set a goal close to that? Well, how would that affect the overall rate? And that's where you come up with the 0.2%, right? To grow 1% a year, we don't believe we can achieve. But if we can manage to retain a few more employees, and in all honesty, we're never going to retain them all. Right? People do want to retire eventually. And there are people that we will not meet eventually. And there are people that, no matter how much professional development we give them, they just don't meet our standards. Right? So there's going to be a small number we know that we don't retain. As long as those numbers are the same and we can up the number to something that we have achieved in the past, not consistently, we believe these numbers are achievable, that 0.2. I know it's not huge, and I know that I'm not going to be here if we can project that out to where we become equal to the diversity of our student population. It would take forever, but I do think it's something that we can do to get the ball rolling.
Based on the history, it's realistic.
Right, and I appreciate that because I was looking at this. So if we did 19 this year, that's about a 20% ratio of all the employees that will be replacing from attrition, right? And it looks like, so if we're saying 6% of staffing, that would be that we need 203. We need a total of 203 out of the 3388 employees. Am I understanding that correctly?
You're looking at the 2000. Yes, you're looking at the 2022-2023 goal. 6% of the staffing will be my minority at that time. Yes, that would be at a 0.2% increase per year would get us to 6%.
Right. So if we're at 203 total, that means that we need 40 total additional over the next 4 years. So about a plus 10 per year.
Yes,
right.
Plus 10.
Plus maintaining.
So knowing that we're going to lose some, that we historically we're going to lose if we lose. We've been losing 11, 12, 15. If we can cut that to 6 or 7, then we need to replace those others.
Right.
Through hiring, through retention.